Welcome to Daily Life Pod, your source for daily inspiration and insights.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we streamline complex sources and actionable knowledge. Today, we are digging into an idea that is, well, it's so fundamental it really touches everything you do. We're talking about Carol Dweck's groundbreaking work, Mindset, the new psychology of success.
It's one of those ideas that once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at people who achieve really sustained long-term success, it's not always about raw talent or IQ. There's something else going on.
Right. It's about how they think about their own abilities. Are they fixed, like a cup that's full, or are they flexible, something you can build on?
That's the question.
And that distinction is everything. Our mission today is to go beyond just the simple definitions. We want to really unpack how the fixed mindset and the growth mindset show up in the real world.
In sports and business.
Even in how we talk to our kids. And the goal is to give you some real, actionable ways to start fostering that growth approach in your own life.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the fixed side of the coin. What does it actually, feel like to operate from a fixed mindset?
Well, the fixed mindset is built on this core belief, and it's often subconscious, that your intelligence, your talents, your abilities, they're just static.
Yeah.
They're gifts you're either born with or you're not.
So you've got what you've got, and that's it.
Pretty much. And if you believe that, then your whole goal changes. It's not about learning anymore.
It's about performance. It's about constantly proving that you have that gift.
Yes, exactly. Your goal is validation. And that's why it's so limiting. Because if your whole identity is wrapped up in being the smart one or the natural, then anything that could possibly challenge that
Becomes a huge threat.
a huge threat. It leads to this deep, profound fear of failure.
Which explains so much about the view on effort. Because if you have to try really hard and you still fail, that's not just a setback.
It's proof. It's proof that you never really had it to begin with.
Yeah.
So effort becomes a negative.
Effort means you're not a natural.
Exactly. So you avoid challenges. You disengage when things get tough because failure feels like a permanent judgment on who you are.
It's like building a fortress around yourself, but it keeps everything out, including growth.
That's a great way to put it.
So if that's the fixed perspective, how does the growth mindset flip that script?
The growth mindset, it just completely reframes the entire game. The core belief is that your abilities are malleable. They can be developed.
So your basic qualities are just the starting point.
Just the starting point. Dedication, strategy, hard work, those are the tools you use to expand your abilities.
So the goal isn't validation anymore, it's mastery.
Yes. And that changes everything. Failure isn't a judgment. It's just data. It's information.
It's feedback.
Crucial feedback. And challenges. They're not threats to be avoided. They're the main way you grow. Effort isn't a sign of weakness. It's the engine. It's what makes you better.
It's important to point out something Dweck emphasizes, which is that nobody is 100% one or the other.
Oh, that's such a critical point. We're all a mix. You might have a total growth mindset about your job, always learning new skills, but a completely fixed mindset about, say, public speaking or learning an instrument.
I'm just not a music person.
Right. And recognizing where that fixed inner voice is loudest.
Yeah.
That's the first step to changing it.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. When you see these mindsets play out in these high-stakes, high-pressure situations, let's talk sports.
Yes, sports is the perfect laboratory for this. You see the fixed mindset in athletes who are all about their natural talent. When things get tough, an injury, a bad call, they can just crumble.
Because it should be easy for them.
It should be easy. And the classic example here is John McEnroe.
Unbelievable talent, just a genius with a racket.
No question. But when he faced adversity, like a bad line call, what happened?
Total meltdown, famously volatile.
And that volatility, that's the fixed mindset and self-protection mode.
Yeah.
He would blame the racket, the crowd, the umpire,
Yeah.
anyone but himself. He couldn't see the loss as feedback to improve because that would mean admitting a flaw.
Which his mindset just couldn't handle.
Couldn't tolerate it.
Now, you compare that rigidity to, the ultimate example of a growth mindset. Michael Jordan.
Ah, Jordan. He's the textbook case. We all see the highlight reels, but we forget the origin story.
He was cut from his high school varsity team.
Cut. For someone with a fixed mindset, that's a death sentence. It's a final verdict. You don't have what it takes.
But for him, it was just fuel.
Pure fuel.
Yeah.
He didn't quit. He used it. He worked relentlessly not to prove he was talented, but to build his skills piece by piece.
He had that famous quote, right? I've missed more than 9,000 shots. I've lost almost 300 games.
26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed.
Wow.
It's the same logic as Thomas Edison with the light bulb. It wasn't 10,000 failures, it was 10,000 steps. For athletes like Jordan or, Kobe Bryant, talent is just the price of admission. Greatness is built through grueling, strategic, relentless effort.
Okay, so let's take that same dynamic, that contrast, and apply it to the business world, because a fixed mindset at the top of a company can be really dangerous.
Catastrophic. Leaders with a fixed mindset, they tend to believe success comes from hiring stars or geniuses. They focus on innate talent.
And they avoid big risks, right, to
Yeah.
protect their own reputation as a genius.
Absolutely. And that creates a culture of fear. If the boss needs to be seen as the smartest person in the room and values perfection, then nobody is ever going to admit they made a mistake.
Which is just death for innovation.
It's a toxic cycle. And the cautionary tale here is, of course, Enron. Their whole culture was obsessed with hiring the smartest people and punishing any sign of weakness.
The ultimate fixed mindset environment.
Pushed to its absolute extreme. So employees hid their mistakes, they took bigger and bigger risks to look brilliant, and they would never collaborate if it meant showing they didn't know something.
And that arrogance, that fear of looking weak, led directly to its collapse.
It was a huge factor. Now, contrast that with the transformation Satya Nadella led at Microsoft.
Right, because before him, Microsoft had this reputation for being very stagnant, a lot of internal fighting.
A real know-it-all culture, as he put it. But Nadella came in and explicitly shifted the goal to being a learn-it-all culture.
Which is just pure growth mindset language.
It's the whole philosophy. He made it safe to experiment, to be curious, even to fail, as long as you learned from it. And in that kind of environment, feedback is no longer a personal attack.
It's a gift. It's the most valuable tool you have.
It is. When people believe they can improve, they actively seek out feedback. The whole organization becomes this collective learning machine instead of, a bunch of individuals just protecting their own turf.
So this all begs the question, where does this stuff start? How do we develop one mindset over the other? And that brings us to parenting.
Yes, and this is often the trickiest part for people to hear because it centers on a really common, well-intentioned mistake.
Praising talent, saying you're so smart.
Exactly. We think we're building our kids' confidence. You're a natural at this.
But Dweck's research shows it does the opposite. Why is that?
Because you're attaching their identity to that static label. Smart. So now the child's main goal is to protect that label at all costs.
So when they hit a problem that's actually hard for them,
A problem that makes them struggle, they're more likely to just give up or even cheat. Because the struggle itself feels like proof that maybe they aren't so smart after all. The pressure's too much.
so that talent praise actually makes them more fragile?
It fosters fragility, not resilience.
Mm-hmm.
The solution is to shift to praising the process.
And not just saying good effort, right? It's more nuanced than that.
It is. Praising effort is good, but praising strategic effort is even better. You praise the process they used. So instead of, you're great at math, you say, I loved how you didn't give up on that hard problem. The way you drew it out and tried a different strategy was really clever.
You're pointing to the things they can control, the strategy, the persistence.
Precisely. You're teaching them how success happens. It comes from hard work and smart strategies, not some magical innate trait. You're creating an environment where it's safe to try hard things and fail because their worth isn't on the line.
That's the goal, creating that inner sense of safety. So for anyone listening right now who recognizes that fixed voice in some area of their life, maybe public speaking or dating or a creative project, how do we start to change it?
Well, the best news is that these mindsets are just beliefs. They're not permanent. But changing them takes real conscious work. And step one is just awareness.
You have to hear that voice first.
You have to identify that fixed mindset inner voice. Become a detective for your own thoughts. When you face a challenge, what does it say?
Don't even try, you'll just make a fool of yourself. Or, see, I knew you weren't good at this.
Yes. And the moment you recognize that voice, you gain power over it. That leads to step two, which is to consciously talk back.
You have to create a new response.
A growth mindset response. So
Yeah.
when the voice says, I'm just not good at this, you replace it with, this is hard, but I can improve with practice and a better strategy.
Instead of I failed, it's I learned.
I learned what doesn't work. It reframes the whole experience. And that leads to step three, which is to act. You have to embrace the process.
You have to intentionally seek out challenges, put yourself in situations where you might actually fail.
You do. You have to reframe failure not as the end of the road, but as a necessary step on the path. The focus has to be on the effort and the process, not the immediate outcome. Celebrating that persistence is what keeps you going. If we boil this whole deep dive down, the message from Dweck's work is just so full of hope. It says your current abilities are just a starting line.
They're not a verdict.
Not at all. The belief system you choose, and it is a choice, determines whether you limit your own potential or whether you unlock this path of continuous, lifelong growth.
So as you go about your week, here's the final thought for you. If you can pinpoint one area in your life, a skill, a relationship, a professional goal, where that fixed mindset voice is the loudest, what is one small, low-stakes challenge you can take on? Just to practice talking back to that voice, to practice seeing a setback, not as proof you can't do it, but simply as a step forward.
That's where the change happens.
Success isn't about what you're born with, it's about your belief in your own capacity to grow. Thanks for diving deep with us. Now go find that voice and start talking back.